You may get to hear my cat in this video. Sorry about that. Okay, so now what do we do with sets? Well, two things we can do. We can do an intersection and we can do a union. So intersection, if you think about, like if you're on the road, the intersection, these are two roads. It's what they have in common, okay? So if I have like a set 1, 2, 3, and maybe I'm going to take the intersection with 3, 4, 5. It's the elements that they have in common. So do they both have 1? No. Do they both have 2? No. Do they both have 3? Yes. And so the intersection in this case would be just the set 3. They don't both have 4 and they don't both have 5. It's what they have in common, the elements that they have in common. So for this example 3, find the intersection. We've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 6, 8, 10, 12. So we want just the sets, just the elements that they have in common. We will use the set notation, so the squiggly brackets, and they have 8 in common and 10, right? And those are the only two that I'm seeing. Okay, so 8, comma, 10. You need the comma, you need the squiggly brackets. Now about the notation, it might look like an N, but it's really not an N. You can find this in any math type system, word processor, and it's the intersection symbol. But you might remember N, like an N intersection, but it's really not an N. It's just an upside down symbol. Okay. All right. If there's no intersection, let's say that the one didn't have an 8 and 10, if there aren't any elements in a set, it's called the empty set. And the empty set's shown in two ways. One, you could just put the squiggly brackets and not put anything in it. That represents the empty set. Or you can also use the circle with a line through it. That represents the empty set. It's also called the null set. Just means the same thing. Empty set, null set, same. Okay? Two ways to represent it. So a lot of times in math, we don't really like it when people put lines through their zeros, because to us in math, that means the empty set. But other disciplines like to put the line through for 0. Anyway, what is union? Union is when you're joining things together. You're going to take all the elements that are in the sets, okay? But you don't repeat them. So like if I wanted to take my sets up here and I was going to do a union, I would write 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, union, and so it's right side up like a U for union, but it's not a U, it's just that symbol. I see students always doing like an N and a U, and those aren't really the symbols. But okay, so if I'm going to do a union here, we would put them in order. That's not a big deal, but because they're numbers, we probably would put them in order. So I would go with 6. We have a 7. We have an 8. Now, even though the 8 is in both sets, you only list it once, okay? So if you're in the set, you're in the set. Okay. And then we have a 9, we have a 10, we have an 11, and we have a 12. And that would be the roster of those, the union of those two sets. Okay. Oh, that was nuts. That was the problem right here. Okay, so I already did the problem, but that's what union is. You can do it again if you want. The big thing on union is don't repeat the element. So if there's an 8 in each of them, don't put it twice. Only put it once.